There's always unique ideas with businesses trying to separate themselves or find new draws to have people come spend their money on things. All sorts of unique ideas have birthed from the mind of humanity, and within racing, there's plenty of those to choose from. In our little dive through the lost racetracks of Pennsylvania, this is one I've come across with a unique setup. This is the story of Rummage's Grove Speedway. In the 1950s, racing was booming again in the United States. Up in the little town of Hunlock Creek, Pennsylvania, was a man named Walter Rummage, who was already profiting off of the concept of entertainment. Walter owned a company with his sons that operated bowling alleys, a skating rink, and a swimming pool. Walter decided next was a racetrack. He got to work with some land that he got, which had previously been the Croups Glen amusement park prior to World War II. They built a 1/4 mile dirt track, named it Rummage's Grove, and were able to have it prepared for racing in 1954. Here's where the story gets interesting. As I mentioned, there are all sorts of unique things that have been conceived within racing, and this is where Rummage's Grove gets the good job scratch and sniff sticker at the top of its test. Rummage and his crew did not build any seating for this track. Instead, they built a grade with the pattern of a drive-in movie theater around the outside, and spectators would then park in the same style as a drive-in movie theater and watch the racing from inside their own vehicles. The parking area would face the track and be close enough that there would be no need for grandstands. This is certainly a unique approach that, as far as I've gathered in my research, was not really shared by any other racetrack. And for a little further elaboration, here's an illustration. To illustrate what this racetrack looked like, I made a small diorama on my floor. So what I've got here is a t-shirt representing a bunch of trees that you would have seen overhead. I'm trying to angle it right now that it's like, that would have been north. There's the track, Rummage's Grove. Race cars on the track, of course. Tommy Hendershitz is leading. But basically the point was to show the way that we would have been parking cars on the banking of this drive-in style seating arrangement, where we would have been on an incline and then looking over cars maybe in front of us and looking down onto then the racetrack. Yeah. So the racing began in the summer of 1954. The track hosted mainly stock car racing and had fair popularity. There was a notable family who owned a junkyard nearby who put together a lot of success. The Spencer family of Spencer's Junkyard fielded cars that often took them to victory. This included strategic additional entries purposed with blocking competitors to allow their cars an advantage. The track only made it through 1955 before the gates closed for good, even though nothing was there to take the space up afterwards. There just wasn't enough money and support for the track to stay open long term. And by the end of 1955, Rummage's Grove Speedway was no more. The space ended up as a little park where community events are now hosted with live music and food truck nights. It's called Palace Park, and honestly looks like a really nice little spot to check out. If you get the chance, you can even venture into the field a little bit and see a rough outline of what was once Rummage's Grove. A little bit of life in a space that very few would know at one point in time had a banked space for parking where onlookers were watching stock car racing. We, however, are not that few, as now we know the story of the drive-in racetrack. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. We did not go on location for this one, but we found a couple pictures thanks to the Pennsylvania's Lost Raceways account on Facebook. Thank you to Allie for your background work on the same topic that we've been discussing in this series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, share it with your friends, and we'll try to get the word out about these old racetracks. I'm Joe Donahue. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you when we venture into our next Lost Speedway next time.